this is Jim Brown from Title Talk, and we are brought to you by Title Leap, and I'm an attorney at James Brown Law.
And I'm Alexandra Nieto. I am the title manager for New Path Title. And today we're going to continue our discussion on the effects of the coronavirus. This is
uncharted water.
And everything everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
What is quarantine? Who can quarantine you? How does that affect your transaction that is in progress? Just
obligations of parties.
Exactly. How do I close if I can't be at the table?
Right. How do I close if I don't want to be at the table? Right.
Exactly. So what are some of the answers? I know it's changing from day to day, so we have to keep researching.
Right.
What have we found so far?
Researching. So if I look tired, it's because I was up all night reading. So there are two general events that are in contract law that prevent performance when you talk about extraordinary events. So there is frustration of contract and force majeure. Force majeure is a provision in the FAR as-is contract, and frustration of contract is a legal concept that prevents performance that would be an excuse for non-performance of a party.
Does force majeure actually, or does the coronavirus or any virus fall under force majeure?
Good question. We're going to get to that. So I'm going to give you a little dissertation of what I know. Frustration of contract is a rarity. It's when things get so disproportionately expensive that parties can't fulfill the contract. And so, for an example, if materials get more expensive, if there's a hurricane and supplies are cut off, or if materials get more expensive, that's not a frustration of contract. People losing jobs is not a frustration of contract, things like that. An example of a frustration of contract would be like a supplier makes a product and that product is cut off for some reason and you can't get it. That supplier may be exempt under frustration of contract, but the middlemans wouldn't be exempt for frustration of contract, and certainly the installer, because they can go to other sources to get the material. But where something is just so grossly disproportionate, the mines are seized or some
that really wouldn't apply.
Does not appear to apply.
Purchase and sale transaction, or even maybe a refi.
And Corona does not appear to apply that kind of frustration of contract excuse. Exactly.
Okay.
The issue of quarantine may. So I did some research.
Okay.
And there's a Florida law, Florida statute 381.00315. It controls the state public health laws. And so if the state health officer declares a public emergency, and it has to be a declaration by the state health officer, and it's done just like a court order, it has the same legal effect as a court order. Sheriff's officers, police, they can act on that order just like they would act on a writ, like say for an eviction.
Gotcha.
So it's not just this vague thing. It's a very specific event. The state health officer says, this business has to be closed. This group of this population has to be quarantined. They can even cite specific individuals. The state health officer can say, this person has to receive treatment. This individual has to be quarantined. This mall has to be closed. But it's not going to be a vague thing. It's a written order.
So you can't say, hey, I'm being quarantined. Right. You have to actually show that you're
There is written evidence someplace that the quarantine is in fact, now there's self-quarantines, which are different, but this is a legally imposed quarantine, punishable in criminal law, punishable as a crime, second-degree misdemeanor. 6 months in jail and a fine is the ultimate punishment. And they also give the state health officer broad authority if people are non-complying, I think if I read properly, to escalate the punishment. So it's a crime. If the state health officer says something, you have to comply.
Now, can a doctor quarantine you?
I did not get to that level of research. I didn't get there. It has to be, the only thing I could find for a lawful quarantine is from the state health officer. Now, I guess the state health officer could say, if your doctor says you're a carrier, then, or you're infected, then you're by law must be quarantined. I would imagine. I don't know that for a fact, though.
Right.
But
well,
it would make sense.
And things are changing.
And your doctor would have to
every
give you a
day.
prescription. So there will be a written law someplace that says if you test positive for COVID-19, you're legally quarantined. Your doctor gives you a script or a statement that says, and then so you'd be. But we're not there yet. I don't know that's a law, or it would shake down that way. But that totally makes sense to me. But
at this point, does any of this?
That's the interesting question.
Make it possible for you to say, well, I'm not closing.
Right. So, again, my research shows that if there's a reasonable solution to the event that causes the party's non-performance, that party has to take those steps to make that transaction happen. And so here's the self-serving plug for Title Leap. Well, there's tools that are available in modern transactions to get people to close. Certainly, there's a number of things available to us that we've had recently in the recent past, but even today, there are more tools in Title Leap that you can close in place. So if you're quarantined and you're in Madrid and you can't leave and you can't fly home and there's a travel ban, those don't appear to be force majeure issues from my research. We can get you the documents, you can sign online, you can FedEx back, you can do a remote online notary, all the things we've talked about.
Right. So, there's always options to work around it.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to get to as the good news for agents. I'm reading off my iPad. The only real impediment that I can see is the fact that lenders still require original notes, and maybe this will be a real boost to legislation to facilitate transactions, that copies of notes will be sufficient, but we can still overcome that. We email somebody a package, and we remote online notary somebody a package, they wet sign, and they FedEx. We give them our FedEx routing number, and they send the documents back to us. So
exactly.
There really shouldn't be an impediment. Yeah, so force majeure in the contract, in the as-is FAR 2017 version, there should not be a force majeure issue as a result of Corona. If you're not allowed to travel between state lines, if you're not allowed to return to the United States, if you're not allowed to leave your house, those should all be events that can be overcome. So the effect is buyers and sellers who are concerned that their other party may not close, or that they don't want to close, or something. And loss of employment or potential loss of employment is not frustration of contract.
Right, so they're still bound to their contract.
They're still bound, and there's still ways to close.
So we'll help find them a way to close.
And we'll continue researching the topic and keeping you guys posted as we learn more. And thanks for listening again to another week of Title Talk with Title Leap.
Have a great day.
Hi, I'm Ashley. This is the only time you'll ever see me in Title Talk videos. Well, thanks for watching. Be sure to watch another episode. Make sure you hit subscribe so you can see all of our new videos, and hit the bell icon so that way you get a notification every time we post a new video. See you next week.
Talk about soul.